Hi guys, welcome to Tech Mind for You. Today I'm discussing starting a new playlist for Docker, and here we will discuss about the Docker container, images, volumes, networking between the Dockers, containers, and how we deploy the containers and many things. So in this first video, we are starting what is Docker, why we should use Docker. Okay, so Docker is a container technology, a tool for creating and managing containers. So we will have a container. Okay. Okay. uh, so the same container always yield the same exact same application and execution environment behavior. Okay. So or you can say the standardized unit of software, a package of code and dependencies to run the code. Like if you have a node.js code plus dependencies, and you have created an image out of from this Docker image, and from this Docker image you have created a container. So so for it doesn't matter how many containers you have created from this image, all the container will have the same application and same dependencies. Okay, the same number of same the versions you have provided here, the same will be available here, the container, all the containers. So 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 providing the same image will provide the same behavior everywhere. Okay, so today's world, all the operating systems provide the inbuilt support for containers, and the Docker simplified the creation of and management of such containers. Okay, so it's kind of, you can say, the fruit bucket where we have everything in one bucket. The container image contains, and then you can use it that image anywhere to create a container. So why container? Why would we want independent standardized application package? Okay, so it may be possible that you have a different uh, what we call different deployment, development and production environment. Okay, different environment like prod, you have a dev. Okay, so everywhere you want same application and same dependencies, so then you can use the Docker. And you may be possible that you have a different development teams, dev teams, and you want everyone you should use the same application code and same dependencies, because it may be possible for some application the dependencies are conflict. If you are not using the proper version, they may conflict. So one people who is developing an application and with all the dependency can create an image from their machines. Okay, and they can push that image to the Docker repository, and other team member can download that image from the Docker repository and create a container on top of that and run the application on their machines. So don't confuse about the image, Docker repository and everything. I have tried to explain everything for you. Okay. Okay, so why the we people are using the Docker right now? Okay, so if you remember, we earlier we used to have a virtual machines. What Why virtual machine is failed now? Why people are using Docker? So we used to have OS, our operating system like Windows, and on top of that we used to install the virtual machine. Okay, like Linux. Okay, and on top of that we install the dependencies, libraries, that we call library dependency and tools, and on top of that we install the application. So earlier we used to you do these things, all these things to run an application or Linux application on a Windows machine, virtual machines, libraries, and application. And whosoever want in your team or other team members or other people want to install the same thing, they need to install the virtual machines and they need to install the application and then dependencies. So that is a waste of lot of space because virtual VMs are OS are very huge in size. That is waste a lot of space on your hard drive and tend to be slow. So that makes your machine very slow. So and the this one advantage was only the one advantage I can see here is the virtual environment OS, virtual OS. So you can configure the environment variable specific on each machine. So each machine are different machine, different user using the different VM can use a different environment variable. Okay, but other thing is it was very heavy. Virtual OS was offline is very heavy, so people start using the Docker. Okay, okay, okay. So let me write it here. So what is Docker and why we use it? So for you saw that how the virtual machine is installed, and on top of that we install the application and dependencies. But for Docker, we have a OS. On top of the OS, we have a OS built in a right now. It's coming built in container support. There and on top of we need to install the Docker engine. That is not in very big in size, and for Windows machine, I will show you the explanation how we install that Docker engine on top of that OS. And on top of that we install the containers, run the containers. So container has the application code plus libraries and dependencies. So these things we need to install only these two. Okay, uh, and this is very small in size and very lightweight, and you can run multiple containers on top of this machine. You can run one Linux container, one Linux container, one Windows container, one other containers also. Okay, so it's very lightweight, and so in if I compare with the virtual machine, it's very low impact on OS, very low as impact, very fast, minimal disk space uses on where the virtual machine was very impact on OS, very slow and higher disk space uses. Here it's a sharing, rebuilding and distribution is very easy in Docker. Okay, Docker in Docker it's very easy to share the this Docker image. Means create a Docker image and share the Docker image with someone. It's very easy. You can encapsulate everything in Docker. You can encapsulate an application environment in whole one machine. Okay, and encapsulating the in virtual machines, encapsulating everything is very heavy. And so that's why the Docker is very famous. I in the coming lecture I will discuss about the why how to install the Docker engine. Uh, Docker engine. Okay, sorry, on Windows machine, how you install that. And in Windows 10, for that you need a Windows 10 or more. So I will explain you which version of Windows means built in build number or minimum you need to have a Docker engine. If you are using a old Windows, you need to go use the Docker tools and building blocks that earlier people used to have. But if you have a Windows 10 or more, that will be good for you because that the installation of Docker engine is very small. So in next topic we will cover that how to install uh, the Docker engine on Windows machines. In this whole playlist we will cover images, what is images plus container. We will do completely hands-on as theory as less possible. Okay, what is images, what is data, what is volumes, container networking. We will cover this. After this, we will move to the uh, multi container project, and after that will use the Docker Compose. Don't confuse with all these words. Docker Compose, you will, if you have multiple Docker files, then you start using the Docker Compose. You can write multiple file contained into one file. And for you in utility container, and we will try to deploy that. And if time permits and everything goes well, we will start using the K8 as Kubernetes. Okay, so we will complete all this in this playlist. So thank you guys. Let's see. We will try to install the Docker container in the next video. Thank you very much.